Have you thought about watching movies to help you learn Spanish? Have you ever wondered if they're actually worth your time as a beginner learner? Well, friends, the research actually says yes, movies can help you improve your Spanish listening, vocab, and comprehension over time, even as a beginner.
Today, we are breaking down why Spanish movies can feel difficult at first, how to actually use them to improve your Spanish. Plus, Em is going to recommend some awesome Spanish films.
And if that wasn't enough, to celebrate this episode, we're giving away 2 double movie passes to the Australian Spanish and Latin American Film Festival. Stay tuned to find out how to win. Vamos, amigos. Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola amigos, I'm Val, your experienced Spanish teacher and co-host from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
We'll help you get confident listening and speaking beginner Spanish with content you can actually use in real-life conversations.
Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on socials at Spanglish_friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos. Bienvenidos, Spanglish friends. Welcome back to your favorite place to learn practical Spanish. And welcome if this is your first time join us.
This is episode 62, episode 62, and this topic is one of the biggest beginner questions that you might have as well. Should I watch movies in Spanish? Are they actually going to help me learn, or is it just all too hard?
Movies can absolutely help your Spanish, amigos. You just need to use them the right way. And once you crack the code, they become a super fun learning tool. We are going to teach you how.
Exactamente. And don't just take my word for it as an English speaker. There's actual real research behind it all too. So we're going to share that with you to boost your confidence. As always, we've got 3 learning goals today. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to understand why. Why do Spanish movies feel so difficult at first, and what most beginners get wrong when they start watching movies in Espanol? Then you'll learn some practical ways to actually enjoy and learn from Spanish films as a beginner. Then finally, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite Spanish language movies I've watched at the Spanish and Latin American Film Festival over the years, all of which you can find on streaming platforms too. Plus, we'll be opening our giveaway for our Australian listeners. Woohoo!
Let's start, como siempre, amigos, as always, con nuestra conversación pequeña, our mini conversation. I am going to be talking about movies in Spanish. Don't worry if you don't catch every word. Just look out for anything familiar to prove to yourself that your Spanish skills are improving. Amiga, ¿estás lista?
Sí, Profe Val. Comencemos.
Cuéntame, ¿te gusta ver películas en español?
Sí, me gusta, pero a veces es difícil.
¿Por qué es difícil?
Porque a veces hablan muy rápido y no entiendo todo.
Sí, yo también. A veces solo entiendo algunas palabras y necesito subtítulos, especialmente en películas de España.
Wow, ok. Yo también uso subtítulos siempre. Me ayudan mucho. Quiero ir al Festival de Cine Español en Australia este año. Allí también hay subtítulos. Así que es perfecto para aprender.
Sí, amiga. Genial, Emi. Que disfrutes el festival.
Alrighty, friends, that conversation was all about watching Spanish films as beginners. We talked about how it's completely normal to feel like Spanish movies are too fast at first. Es muy difícil porque hablan muy rápido. It's very hard because they speak very fast.
And also how subtítulos are actually really helpful. Not cheating, especially when you are starting out. So let's jump into it. Let's start with the big question. which is watching movies in Spanish actually worth your time as a beginner? Or are you just going to feel overwhelmed and confused the whole time?
Well, the answer is yes to both. And that's actually a good thing. Let me explain. So, amigos, when you start watching movies in Spanish as a beginner, you'll quickly realize a couple of things. First, you are not going to understand every word, every expression, and that is completely normal. Second, Spanish is not one language with one singular sound. There are so many different accents across the Spanish speaking world. Spanish from Argentina sounds very different to Spain. It sounds very different to Colombian Spanish or Mexican Spanish. Some accents are easier at first, some are faster, some drop sounds and cut words. If you do a quick Google search online, difficulty maps showing some countries' accents are more easier to understand than others. Have a search of it.
That's so true. It's like English, Aussie, British, Scottish, American, all are so different.
That's right. It's the exact same with Spanish. And on top of that, each country in the Spanish speaking world has its own slang, its own jerga. So essentially, to answer your question, Val, yes, you will feel overwhelmed. That's part of the process, but they are a useful tool if you know how to use movies correctly.
So we're basically going through the 5 stages of grief and then arriving at acceptance, which is I don't understand everything, and that's fine.
Yes, if you're going to watch movies in Spanish, you have to tell yourself this. Once you've arrived at stage 5 acceptance, then we ask the real question, how are movies actually useful for learning Spanish? So let's have a look at the research, all right? Now, I had a look around and there was a study from the Language Learning Journal in 2019, and it found that subtitles, subtitles, they're really helpful for beginners to follow the story of the movie, reduce you feeling overwhelmed. But real learning actually happens when learners such as yourselves use subtitles actively. You start noticing patterns, repeated phrases, connecting with sound and meanings, not just passively watching. And there was another study in PLOS1 in 2016 that found learners improve listening comprehension most when watching films in their original language with subtitles in that same language. So Spanish audio with Spanish subtitles can help improve your learning.
Wow, that's incredible. So subtitles aren't just allowed, they are actually recommended.
Exactamente, Profe Val.
Wow, wow, wow. So, what do we recommend for beginners based on research and experience here?
All right. So combined with the research and my experience now 10 years learning Spanish as an English speaker, this is what I recommend if you want to watch films. Firstly, subtitles, subtítulos, they're essential, esencial, okay? As a beginner, it might be overwhelming to do Spanish films with Spanish subtitles. So start with English subtitles if needed. There's absolutely no pressure. Second, go in with the mindset, I will not understand everything. If you try to understand everything, you're going to be exhausted in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Third, focus on getting the gist. Focus on, okay, do I understand what's happening? Do I understand the sentiment, the emotions of the characters? Who's happy? Who's angry? Can you follow the story even if you miss words? Fourth, start noticing familiar words and phrases. Do I understand that familiar phrase from my classes I'm doing or podcasts I've done with Val and M? Those small wins count. And finally, choose to watch films you actually enjoy. Don't force it. If you hate a topic, you're not going to learn from it. So pick movie genres that you actually get excited to watch. Now, note here, you don't have to just watch films that are produced in Spanish. You can watch films you already know in English, just dubbed in Spanish with English subtitles. For example, you could watch Shrek, you could watch Harry Potter, you could watch Finding Nemo with Spanish dubbed voices with English subtitles. So you already have the context of what's going on in English and you can start to pick up the words in Espanol.
Exactly. For example, Finding Nemo in Spanish, it's nadaremos, nadaremos en el mar, el mar, el mar. Highly recommended. Watch it. The movies you already know, but in Spanish. Como Buscando a Nemo. Do you have some Spanish movies? recommendation for us from your many years of attending the Spanish and Latin American Film Festival?
Yes, this is the big film festival that's held across Australia each year. And I most certainly have some recommendations from past sessions, which I'd love to share with you all. So here are my top 3 picks. It was very hard to narrow it down to 3. First up is La Odisea de los Giles, Heroic Losers. It's a film from Argentina. It's a comedy set during Argentina's 2001 financial crisis. Now, what it is, it's a group of ordinary neighbors. They lose their life savings due to a corrupt man, and they come together to plan an unexpected mission to break into his safe box and get their money back. It's hilarious, funny, and it was surprisingly easy to follow. The next is Justicia Artificial, Artificial Justice from Spain. Now, this is a political thriller movie set in the nearby future where AI, ER in Spanish, is introduced into the justice system to help make legal decisions. And it raises big questions about fairness, control, technology. Feels very relevant with everything happening with AI right now. And finally, my last movie recommendation for beginners, I think this would be a fantastic one to start out as a beginner, is Language Lessons from the USA, Estados Unidos. It is a drama comedy which honestly uses Spanglish. It's a bit of Spanish, a bit of English. That's why I think it's a perfect one to start. And it follows a man in the USA who is receiving Spanish lessons online that his partner bought for him. And after a personal event, the language connection between teacher and student turns into a deeply emotional friendship. It's about grief, it's about connection, and how language can bring people together in really unexpected ways. It's a comedy, it's beautiful. I can't recommend that enough as a great film to start.
Wow, they all sound fantastic, so I can't wait for the festival to start. We are going to link all the films in the bio, so you can go watch them across the world. Now it's time for your reto de la semana, amigos, your challenge of the week. Head to the comments and tell us, have you watched a Spanish film before? If so, share your experience or recommend a movie in the comments. We'd love to give you a shout out in an upcoming episode. And speaking of good ones, our Spanglish friend shout out of this week goes to Dalia, who commented on YouTube. She said, "Loved your podcast. Thanks for doing what you do." We love you, Dalia. Thank you for being part of our community. Muchísimas gracias.
And now for all of our Australian listeners, this is the moment you've been waiting for. We have a special giveaway for you. We're giving away 2 free double movie passes to the Australian, Spanish, and Latin American Film Festival, which is running from June to July 2026 across all major Australian cities. We're talking Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Byron Bay, Canberra, Perth, Adelaide, even Ballarat. So to enter, head to our Instagram page, which is Spanglish_friends. Follow us and head to our pinned post and tag your friend in the comments. That might be a family member, a neighbor, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, husband, wife, whoever it is that you want to go to the film with. Tag your movie buddy in the comments of that post. Winners are going to be announced on Tuesday, the 9th of June at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time via our Instagram page. I'm so excited for the 2026 festival. Head to the description, everyone, for more details and the full lineup of films this year. Even if you're outside of Australia, check out the festival lineup because there are some amazing Spanish films here that I'm sure you can find on streaming services all across the world. So check it out.
I'm so excited for this. Woo! And spoiler alert, before we go, amigos, next week's episode is all about clothing. How to describe what you are wearing in Spanish, common clothing vocabulary, and how to ask someone what they are wearing too. So, amigos, que tengan una maravillosa semana. Thank you for listening to us today.
Yes, all the best watching films en español. You can do it. We believe in you, amigos. And we'll see you at the Spanish and Latin American Film Festival in Australia. Happy movie watching.
Thanks for listening to Spanglish, friends. We are both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us, leave a rating, or tell a friend about the show. It helps our awesome community grow.
Join fellow beginner Spanish learners by following us on Instagram and TikTok at Spanglish_friends.
Congratulations on taking another step in your Spanish learning journey.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.